Dear students, kindly be seated. All the escorting team, kindly be seated. Very shortly, we are starting this great session where you will learn how India and UK relations are developing for a better tomorrow. The students I can see in front of me, immediately be seated. Everybody quickly settle down.
We're about to start with the next panel discussion. Can we request the audience to be seated? We can start.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, industry leaders, faculty members, researchers, and our dynamic student community. It is with immense pride and enthusiasm after the inaugural session of our 25th INBUSH era, we welcome you all to our UK session of INBUSH 2025, where we continue our journey of exploration, learning, and collaboration under the theme Navigating the Journey of Six Eyes. Today, we focus on the topic of global significance, cultivating bilateral innovation for inspiration to impact in UK-India collaborations. This session will provide you the deep transformative power of international partnership in fostering innovation, driving economic growth, and creating world-class organizations. India and the UK share a historic relationship that has evolved into a powerful alliance of mutual growth and development. From education and technology to trade and investment, the two nations have been at the forefront of fostering innovation-driven economies. Today's session will explore how we can channel this synergy into impactful actions, leveraging the six I's: inspiration, ideas, innovation, implementation, improvement, and impact to create sustainable and inclusive business economies. Before we begin the session, please put your hands together to welcome Professor Robin Mashin, Pro Vice Chancellor, International University of Birmingham. We welcome Dr. Kiran Trehan, Pro Vice Chancellor for Enterprise Partnership and Engagement, University of York. We are proud by the presence of Mr. Aditya Malkani, Regional Director, the Association of Commonwealth Universities. We are immensely grateful by the presence of Professor Robin Banerjee, Pro Vice Chancellor, Global and Civic Engagement, University of Sussex. Professor Richard Eames, Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and International, Nottingham Trent University. Professor Roman Motzak, Professor of Financial Economics, Queen Mary University, London. Ladies and gentlemen, now I take the honor to welcome Professor Dr. Gurinder Singh, Group Vice Chancellor and the moderator of the theme, to introduce the panel to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. We are going to start with a very interesting panel discussion on cultivating bilateral innovation from inspiration to impact in UK and India collaborations. As a very distinguished audience, you know that the new education policy throws so many challenges in front of us. The Honorable Prime Minister of India truly wants that UK and India, especially the education sector, come much closer. We have seen in the recent past that number of UK universities, they have expressed their interest to start dual degree programs, to come to India, to open up the campuses. Also, we have seen that the increasing interest of Indian students to go to UK. We have in front of us many questions. Before this panel discussion, we had flown a questionnaire to about 30,000 students from across India to understand that what is their perception. And I have got a long list of questions in front of me, but don't worry, I'm not going to ask you 107 questions, but I'm classifying it in 5 parts. I think that most important thing which students want to know from the panelist is that what UK education sector, what UK universities, they have to offer to the Indian students, and what value of the degrees which UK universities are providing to India uh, are having the value in the international markets. So we are going to start this. I'm going to request each of the panelists to first speak for 5 minutes, giving introduction to the topic, their views, what they feel, and then from there, we will come on the specific question. So first of all, I will request Professor Richard. Give a huge applause to him. One of the very known researchers who has contributed across the globe, known as one of the knowledge leaders. I would request Professor Richard to share his views.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. So, Professor Singh, thank you for the invitation to speak today. And this is a true honor to be able to be here today to talk about how we build strong, productive research collaborations at this 25th anniversary meeting of INBUSH. So I think the key things that we can offer and the key things that are messages for our audience is about collaboration, and where collaboration is built on mutual trust and respect. The collaborations that we have built around the world, most notably with Amity University, are those partnerships that are built on trust and respect. And I think this is important when we think about the lifetime of someone's career within research and collaboration. Aside from my role within the university, I chair the group that leads the strategy for developing researchers from a PhD right through to their early career into academia. And these roles of how we prepare academics for their career, how we build on that success, is essentially important. It's also a key factor that we as universities and as academics with our training are able to bring a vision of the future that can see further than many of our partners. That's how we've trained, and that's what we would offer to you as university students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have online Professor Robin Banerjee, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Global and Civic Engagement of the University of Sussex. Very warm welcome to you. Though you are not here in the hall, we are missing you. But we'd like to understand from you also for 5 minutes your views, and then we'll come on the specific questions.
Thank you so much, Professor Singh. It's so lovely to see you. Such an honor and privilege to be with you for the INBUSH conference. And I'm looking forward actually to be visiting Amity very, very shortly as well, having my return visit to Amity. You know what? I want to think about how we are bringing things together in our relationship with India. The UK-India relationship is one that absolutely does already and can in the future grow bilateral innovation. For me, it's about 2 things. It's about starting with the world-leading academic research and expertise that is driving forward, pushing at the frontiers of our knowledge in all these different areas. And I just think about some of the centers of excellence that we've been developing over the years. We've got interdisciplinary innovation happening in the areas of AI, in the areas of quantum computing, in the areas of energy policy and sustainability, trade policy, neuroscience, the list goes on. And so much of what happens is actually partnership, just as we heard a moment ago from Richard, partnership that is based on trust between wonderful institutions in India like Amity and institutions in the UK like Sussex. But there is something very special that gets joined together with that world-leading academic expertise, and that is the energy, drive, enthusiasm, and entrepreneurship of our amazing students. And I know from having spoken with so many of them when I last visited Amity, I know that this is a very, very strong trend in Amity University. The students are ambitious, there is enthusiasm, there is a real sense of drive. And what we look to do is to build those employability skills, that entrepreneurship, into the curriculum experience. It's not something that you do after your course, you do it in your course. We have a careers lab at Sussex, which is focused on giving hundreds and hundreds of paid placements where students can engage with employers during their studies, not after their studies, during their studies, through consultancies, through entrepreneurship catalysts. We have students starting their own business during their studies. And then they become, after they finish, part of our amazing alumni network. And we were very proud. Very recently, we were able to give an honorary doctorate to one of our older alumni from the 1970s. And that happened in just a few weeks ago with Noel Tata. Noel Tata was economics undergraduate at Sussex way back many decades ago. And we were very proud to be able to give him the certificate in India a few weeks ago. And you know what? The students who come through our programs, building that entrepreneurship, engaging with employers during their studies, afterwards become a really strong community of alumni. We have over 200,000 alumni all over the world. And our Indian alumni, I just gave you one example, our Indian alumni are absolutely amazing because they create a community that supports the next generation of students. So I see here a wonderful, beautiful cycle of positive growth. It's the innovation during the studies, which then gets fostered, cultivated, and grown after students graduate. So I'm really excited about what we can continue to do even more in the future. We have very strong foundations for growing that bicultural, bilateral innovation. And to me, it's all about the entrepreneurial spirit that I see among the students in Amity.
Thank you, Professor Banerjee. We have with us Professor Robin Masson, Pro Vice Chancellor, International of University of Birmingham. We only 2 weeks back, Jaspreet is here. We had a very good interaction with some of the leading UK universities, but was good to see that Birmingham is thinking progressively, wants to take many initiatives in India, but we want to understand from you that what is your perception about the Indian education sector and what UK universities have to offer to the various Indian universities.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. A little bit late, apologies that I snuck onto the stage. The traffic got the better of me. But it's a real pleasure to be back in Amity at the INBUSH conference again. Actually, I'm becoming a regular attender, and it's always a real joy to be here. I learn a lot from being here, and hopefully I'll give a few thoughts for you to ponder on. I know the title of this session is Cultivating Bilateral Innovation from Inspiration to Impact. I just thought it was worth reflecting on the fact that there is already a huge amount of bilateral innovation going on between the UK and India. And it really is bilateral. It's the flow is two ways of knowledge, learning, research, and innovation. For my own university, because I look at these numbers very carefully, collaboration with India has been growing and growing and growing. Over the last 5 years, the number of jointly authored publications with Indian academics has grown by 55%. We collaborate with 424 different Indian institutions. And when we look at the quality of the joint research that we do, if you look at the field-weighted citation impact, so that's defined so that the worldwide average is 1. When we look at all of the University of Birmingham's publications, The average for that is just a little bit under 2.2. And when we look at those publications with the University of Birmingham and our Indian co-authors, so we get a boost of a multiple of 4 by collaborating with Indian academics and researchers. So there's a huge amount of research already going on. It's growing very rapidly, and it's of really world-leading standard. And I just wanted to give one example of where those are aggregate figures, average figures. I wanted to give you a particular example of where that's really gone from innovation to impact on a research agenda that we've been working on for almost 10 years now. To do that, let me just give you a few more facts and figures. 2024 is almost certain to be the hottest in recorded history, surpassing 2023, which was previously the hottest year on record. In the last week of May 2024, 37 cities across India recorded average temperatures above 45 degrees centigrade. And 2024 is also the first year above 1.5 degrees centigrade, the famous critical temperature threshold set by the Paris Agreement. So things are getting hotter, we know this. A few more facts that you may not know quite so well. Cooling accounts for 20% of all energy consumption. And that's due to double by the year 2050. And a further thing that you may not know, or I'm sure some of you in the room do, is that one of the casualties of cooling is food wastage. Getting produce from field to market, keeping it cool enough so that it doesn't rot, is a huge challenge. And indeed, food wastage each year is such that if we could prevent it, you could feed 1 billion people a year. So the cold chain, everything that you need to do to make sure that produce goes from field to market without wastage, is hugely important. And it's a critical infrastructure that's missing in many parts of the world, including India, and also parts of sub-Saharan Africa too. And so we've been incredibly fortunate to work with a range of partners to set up a center of excellence in cold chain for post-harvest management. This is something very visionary by the state of Haryana, which is funded by the UK, by the state of Haryana, by the UK's Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, and by the United Nations Environment Programme. And it's setting up a centre of excellence in Chandigarh, which is where I was yesterday, with the Chief Minister of Haryana to sign the MOU to open the Centre of Excellence, which we hope will be open in the, thank you, open in the next 12 to 18 months, working with academics, working with local businesses, working with farmers, working with practitioners, offering research, knowledge transfer and training, and not just for the state of Haryana, but also for adjoining states too. It is the only centre of excellence like it in the world that looks at the entire chain of what you do after the harvest to make sure that there's minimal food wastage in a way that doesn't create air pollution through very polluting diesel generators and refrigeration units. So I think that's a real example there of a state in India, the government of the state of Haryana, being visionary about what it needs to improve the welfare of the people in India, working with international partners, including the University of Birmingham and a number of other universities, and supported by the United Nations to make a real difference to the lives of people in India. And the lessons that we learn in India will also help us in sub-Saharan Africa and other parts of the world. So huge potential for bilateral innovation, real mutual benefit, shared knowledge, and research turning into impact. And I thought that would be a very nice example to share with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Robin, who is representing University of Birmingham as their very able Pro-Vice Chancellor. And we have got very good ties with University of Birmingham. I think one of the very few universities who are doing undergraduate programs in India with us. We have with us Dr. Kiran Trihan, a good friend, I think from the last 1 week. She is here doing a lot of research. And she is the Pro-Vice Chancellor of our enterprise partnership with University of York. We did a project under the UKRI and under the British Council. But we'd like to understand from you that what is your perception from the University of York point of view, that how UK universities and Indian universities can come closer together.
Thank you, and a really warm welcome again. I want to change the conversation a little bit. So I'm going to start with a quote from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you did. People will forget what you said, and people will never forget how you made them feel. So when we talk about cultivating bilateral innovation, why would the University of York want to partner with the University of Amity and likewise? And what does that offer the next generation of students? I want to talk about the big idea, because at the heart of bilateral innovation and UK universities working with Indian universities is that it's not an instrumental endeavour. It's about relationships. It's about a shared sense of purpose, shared culture, shared values. Because if we get that right, then the other things follow. But if you go out to just get the best institutions and the best research and don't build those relationships, where is the sustainability and synergy? So what's the big idea then? At the heart of progress lies a simple yet profound truth for me. Innovation, we all know, does not thrive in isolation, but in collaboration. So why the University of York? Why British universities and India? You don't really need me to tell you that the two nations are steeped in history, both in terms of intellect. And Robin, I want to pick up on our shared passion around entrepreneurial spirit. And we've talked about that. So we do share a unique opportunity, but we have to think about how we can turn inspiration into impact, not just for the UK and India, but for global economies across the world. So how do we become the research leaders, the thought leaders? How do our students, the best minds and knowledge of the future, become integral to that programme alongside our academics, the policymakers and industry leaders? So why UK and India? So at the University of York and across the UK, we bring deep research, and you've heard all of the panellists talk about that expertise. But we also have cutting edge technology and a thriving startup ecosystem. India, with its immense talent, digital revolution, dynamic markets, offers scale and agility. So when we bring these strengths together and bridge them, we don't just innovate, we create that lasting transformational relation change that I've been talking about. But let me be clear, there's a challenge. Inspiration and relationships aren't enough. The real challenge for us is ensuring that ideas don't just remain in the research laboratories or in the executive boardrooms of senior leaders in universities. If we're serious about joint collaborations and making real world improvements, improving lives, equality of opportunity, education for all, driving sustainability, and as Robin Mason has just highlighted, a really brilliant example of how you can foster inclusive growth between two universities and two economies. So what's the answer then? I think there are three key imperatives in addressing the question. I think we have to build really strong ecosystems. We have to connect universities, startup and industries and our students in ways that create seamless knowledge. And I call that critical by design. The students are not the byproduct. They're not the side hustle. They are central to the new innovations, the new ideas and the new startups. Because many students, both in the UK and in India, are creating businesses of their own. And Amity is a great example of a startup that's gone from startup to scale up. Then we have to think about driving real world impact, and whether that's from artificial intelligence, as we saw yesterday, to healthcare, to sustainable energy. We have to think about the kinds of projects that deliver social and tangible change, not just for this generation, but for generations to come. So I guess the call to action, for you as a group of students and for us working with universities in India is, where is the next big revolution? Because it can't be in AI, because that's already happening. It can't be in fintech and healthcare, because it's on our doorstep. Climate change, we're already working on. So we also have to think about innovations that are not just happening now, but are on the horizon. So I guess really I'm making a case for building partnerships that break silos, that embrace risk, and we turn inspiration into real impact. Because the future is not what we predict today, it's about how we create, and together, UK and India, I think, can create extraordinary things by doing extraordinary research.
Thank you, Professor Trehan. And Professor Trehan is one of the world-renowned researchers, and we have been doing research together, coming up with a book together. And next week, we are doing another UKD project in UK together. Thank you so very much. We have with us Mr. Aditya Milkani, a name which most of the academic leaders know as a person who's representing Association of Commonwealth Universities. Students and participants who don't know Association of Commonwealth of Universities, it is one of the most prestigious bodies in the world, which brings the UK universities and also the universities world over together on a common platform. I was there in London, I think 2 weeks back, and met their CEO, Professor Colin, who also came, and we spoke on that what Association of Commonwealth Universities have to do together. We'd like to understand from you, what is your perception of your organization towards bringing UK universities and Indian universities together?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Singh, for that very kind introduction. It's an absolute honor and privilege and pleasure to be in your midst. And coming to Amity is very much a homecoming for me. I've been coming here for several years, and as the Association of Commonwealth Universities, we've had the great honor and privilege of collaborating with your academics, working with your students, and also organizing conferences and joint events with you, both in an online and an in-person format. As the world's first and oldest international university association, we believe we have this great responsibility to foster international collaboration. As my colleague, Professor Colin Riordan, said a little while ago, we have members across 41 Commonwealth countries, totaling approximately 400 in number. What that translates to is over 10 million students and over 1 million staff based at these 400 universities. That, of course, gives us great access and reach, but I think more importantly, it vests upon us the responsibility to find ways to connect universities, to connect staff, and to connect the students that study within these universities. There's an often used term known as brain drain when we are thinking of students from what's typically known as the global south traveling to what's referred to as the global north. I think the way the world is moving, for better or for worse in some cases, we have to replace the word brain drain with brain chain instead. And the reason I say that, colleagues, is collaboration is at the very heart of everything that we do today. Whether you look at the services sector, whether you look at the manufacturing sector, whether you look at the education sector, not least higher education, it's really international collaboration that helps us not just thrive, but frankly survive. I'm sort of flipping that saying a little bit. From the ACU's perspective, our mandate is very clear. We are the voice of higher education across the Commonwealth. We work with several governments across the Commonwealth in shaping and influencing higher education policy. We offer a range of grants and fellowships and scholarships that are open to staff as well as students from across our membership. We convene events and we bring together like-minded individuals to focus on specific issues, to tackle specific problems. We also invest in developing resources, toolkits, and create platforms that foster collaboration. Coming more specifically to your question, Professor Singh, we've seen a lot of activity in this UK-India corridor for a number of years now. As Kiran said, there's shared history, there are strong and further deepening economic ties between these two countries. And from where we sit, our single largest number of members are here in India, over 100 universities. Our second largest number of members are in the UK, about 75 universities at last count. And therefore, we're at this vantage point where we can foster bilateral collaboration within a multilateral setting. So a number of our UK and Indian universities work together with the help of our grants on solving problems to do with sustainability, to do with artificial intelligence, to do with gender issues. In fact, Dr. Anupama Rajesh, who has, I understand, played a key part in this conference, was the recipient of one such grant recently. And that grant saw her and her team work with colleagues at Oxford Brookes University in the UK to look at food waste management, which of course is an important topic, and it's something that Professor Robin Mason also referred to a little while ago. So really from our perspective, as a tertiary education network working in a global setting, our job is to bring institutions together. Our job is to improve lives through the work that we do. And we're certainly very, very interested in seeing a deepening of bilateral ties, but within a multilateral setting.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malkani. And we feel so proud that the association has been supporting, and we have done a number of projects together with a number of UK universities with your support. Thank you. We have with us Professor Roman, who's a professor of financial economics at Queen Mary University of London, who has joined us online. Very warm welcome to you. May we please request you to, if you can share your views that how UK universities and Indian universities, they can come together and can offer their services.
Oh, thank you very much, and good afternoon. My apology that I couldn't come in person to your conference. I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately I got a bad chest infection and I was for 3 weeks out of work, and I really couldn't do it, and still cannot. But I'm very happy to join your great conference. And my reflection would be more on business schools and what we can see, and what kind of innovation we can see in higher education in terms of the business and management. If you look back, let's say 20 years ago, you would observe that what we are getting international students from India who will enroll on our master degrees or undergraduate programs. So it was only one-way transfer. The students came here and we provided some kind of education. If you look for the last decade, the the way of educating international students has changed. Particularly, what we can observe is closer, and I would say very close relationship with Indian universities, with Indian business schools. What we provide now, it's not just one-way education. The students are coming to London or other parts to Queen Mary, but what we do, we introduce new degrees, double degrees, joint degrees. This provides a opportunity for students to compare not only the way of how the students are educated, but also give them opportunity to be prepared for the job market in India, because they spend half of their education at the domestic universities. The second part, they are coming to Queen Mary when we provide education, providing the global look at different subjects, including new degrees. So the first, what we can observe is change in innovation by introducing double degrees, extensively introduce double degrees. We collaborate with a large number of leading Indian universities, and we can see students' feedback that is very positive in terms of what they learn. And also, if you look at the students' employability, the employability of our students, Indian students who go back to India, it's really high. The second innovation is because of this kind of collaboration in education, is that our degrees, our programs are continuously changing. Again, if you look at the British or the UK education, higher education, 2 decades, 3 decades, you might observe degrees, for example, and they ran for years without any kind of changes. Now, if you look at and you compare our programs, you can see there is a regular changes, regular update. We are dropping the courses which are, because technology and all the changes are so fast that the universities have to react to it. For example, our Queen Mary, our School of Business and Management, we introduce a large number of new degrees which are completely innovative. For example, we have environmental analytics. Sure, we have the traditional degrees of business analytics. We introduce the master degree in business sustainability. We introduce degree in blockchain and financial technology. So what I'm trying to say, that the innovation is not going only in the industry, but we can observe high innovation in higher education sectors by introducing and reacting to the changes in the real world by introducing new degrees which improve students' employability. And the second very important is the closer and very close collaboration between our school and overseas universities, with a specific focus on India's business school.
Thank you, Professor Roman. We have got now quite a few questions which are revolving around scholarships, which are revolving around employment opportunities, which are revolving around why Indian students should go to UK, which are also involving around dual degrees, which are there are questions which are on internships or apprenticeships. So I am classifying into 4 parts and then raising it out so that we know, otherwise the huge number of questions will never be able to end the discussion. So we would like to do in next 20 to 25 minutes, very quick questions, very focused ones, but about 63% of the students and the academic leaders who have sent us the questions, they are revolving around the new education policy and what new education policy has to offer to the Indian students. And I'm just giving you the background. In 1990s, we saw UK universities and the UK education system coming with a number of polytechnics. So suddenly there was a rise of number of polytechnics which are coming up. They were offering their degrees. And then we saw that a large number of students were going there, were doing some work and then coming back. Then we also saw that in late 20s, it was articulation agreements. That a large number of UK universities were coming, they were signing articulation agreements, and students were doing a part of the program here, then the part of the program abroad. Now, when the new education policy has come up, we have seen a new change in the entire education ecosystem. And the system is inviting UK universities to establish their campuses here. We have seen two of the UK universities coming up. One was on the Gujarat model, which is there in the gift city. Other one is coming in Gurgaon, opening up. There are three others, including few who are sitting here, they're your universities, who are looking at opening and establishing the campuses in NCR and in other parts of the world. My question to you is that as academic leaders, what you foresee, that if a UK university is coming and opening a campus in India, what kind of quality, number one, number two, response, and number three, validity those universities will have in India? Over to you. We'll start with the University of Birmingham. Professor Robin, what is your view?
I was hoping you were going to start with somebody else. It's a big question. Let me give some immediate thoughts. There will obviously be a great focus for a while on international branch campuses. Now, please don't misunderstand me in what I'm about to say, because my own university has an international branch campus in Dubai. So we are neighbours, indeed. Good friends and neighbours with Amity in Dubai. So I am an advocate of international branch campuses. I think if the debate is just about international branch campuses, though, I think that will be an incomplete debate. I actually foresee that an even greater effect of the new education policy is allowing institutions in India more freedom and more independence to innovate in their programs. Yes, to collaborate internationally with the universities, but to internationalize their curriculum. And that, I think, in the long run, will have an even more profound effect on higher education in India than international branch campuses, which will have an effect. Please, don't misunderstand me. But at scale, I think the bigger effect will be the building of the capacity, the innovation in programs, the internationalization that the new education policy will enable.
So you feel that more UK universities will be coming to India to open their campuses, or it is going to be a challenging?
I'm sure there will be campuses. I'm even more certain that there will be more joint, dual, collaborative programs with UK universities and other international universities, and that will have a more profound effect, is my hypothesis.
That's my next question. I will be coming to you. But then same question I'm asking to Professor Robin, who's, I'm asking to Professor Banerjee. So Professor Banerjee, what is your view? I know that Sussex has been very active. There were some discussions going on. So what is your view that opening up a university in India, UK university coming in India, opening up a campus, their degrees will have same validity? What kind of challenges you foresee? And will it be good for the students? And what is going to be the difference of the degree? Someone going to UK taking a degree and someone coming in Indian institution and taking a degree.
Let me just say this. The NEP is all about opening up opportunity. For me, that is the big word. And the key thing is for us to work with our partners in India to take advantage of that opportunity to create more opportunities. For me, it is all about listening, not simply being in a kind of a broadcast mode where we say, this is what we do, we're going to now open it up to everybody else. Actually, it's the other direction. It's the time for us to really listen to the voices of our partners. And can I just read you a quote as well? Because this is in the DNA of Sussex. When Sussex was founded as the first of the new universities in the 1960s in the UK, listen to this. This is what our founding Vice Chancellor said. "We of the Western world," he said, "belong to the smallest half of the human race. It is of the greatest importance that more and more of our people should have a substantial acquaintance with the larger half." It was international from the beginning, and the key focus was listening, responding to the voices of our partners in different countries. And of course, African and Asian studies was one of the big headline kind of features of Sussex University when it was founded. So for me, this isn't about simply having a single model. It's not just, actually, as Robin was saying from Birmingham, this is not simply about, okay, let's just open lots and lots of branch campuses. It's not just that. It's actually about innovating with our partners to really respond to the needs of the students. And I think it will take many, many different forms. And I'm very excited about working with Amity on that because we're already doing some very exciting things. I think we have new ventures that we can take forward. And quality is a must. This is not an option. This is not something that we can kind of start to lower. The quality has to be just as strong, if not stronger, in the collaborative work we do with our partners in India. So I have no worries about that. The key thing is we need to take the time to respond to the voices of our family in India.
Thank you. I think that's a very good answer. We will come to the NTU, Nottingham Trent University. Large number of students from India, they go to Nottingham Trent University. We have seen, and your courses are quite popular here. What is your view? If tomorrow your university comes up and open up a campus, how the students perceive? Do you think that that will be more relevant to the Indian students, or still going to UK would be more relevant to them?
Well, I think that, as you know, we're at Nottingham Trent University. We're one of the largest universities in the UK. We have a real opportunity to do something different. And I think that's the key. This is a time to do something different in a different country. And so we really will work to value the experience and the insights of our local Indian partners, because that insight into student demand and also industrial skills needs is going to be essential. So we see that Indian partnership as essential in our next steps in working with you.
Thank you. And I'll come back to Professor Kiran Trohan. We have seen York becoming very popular, becoming very active. Your Vice Chancellor was a good friend. He was here at QS conference in Goa, then he was in Delhi. And then we have seen now that York is collaborating in a very huge way in India. But what is your view? Though you are coming to India after 40 years or 40 years, she's coming to India after 40 years. But then last evening when we were taking dinner together, she said that she loves India. But I would request you to maybe if you can tell us from your experience that new campuses which are coming in a very big way. From one of the newspaper clippings, I can quote, there are 11 UK universities which are trying to establish their campuses in India. So if so many campuses are coming to India, one will have a bearing on the cost. So out of the 11, I think that 9 are saying that they will make the degrees very affordable. So which means that the cost of providing the degree, UK degree in India is going to come down substantially. But number 2, do you think that the degree will have same value? If the campuses are coming up, what do you feel? Will they be successful? And will the degree will have the same value if a student is studying in India or a student is studying in UK? Over to you.
So I don't think it's as polarized as that. You know, I don't think it's about UK universities coming to conquer India because we can't conquer, our own world. You will know that the education sector worldwide is experiencing some really complex and difficult times. But at the heart of this question is about where do students want to learn? How do students want to learn? And what's the best kind of education they can get and from where? Because students vote with their feet. So when we think about campuses in India, and at the University of York, we're on the same page as my colleague Richard. What we are not trying to do is come and conquer India by taking India's land and building campuses and dividing markets. That's a hostile environment, and the education sector doesn't need that. What it needs is understanding, it needs collaboration, and it needs to think about what are the students of the future asking and what are they going to need as they take on of York. We're really clear. Collaboration for us means, just in the way that Robin at Sussex has been articulating, is not doing the talking, not doing the doing, but it being a genuine joint venture. What kinds of collaborative university do we want to set up? Which partners do we want to work with? Then we come back to that whole process of the kind of research that we do, the shared values that we have. So I think it's a really exciting time because education is having a new revolution. We're learning in different ways. You know, the classroom has changed. COVID-19 showed us that. So I think for me, it's about those bilateral agreements where some of the education happens in India, but it's not just Indian students coming over to the UK, it's UK students coming over to India because they have as much to learn. And then we've got academic faculty. If we want genuine, what I call high quality, high governance, then we have to work with each other and get exposed to each other's environment. So the future, I think, is going to be innovative and exciting, but only if we work together to create an international, global education systems that serves the next generation of students.
Thank you, Professor Trihan. The same question I'm sending to our friend Mr. Aditya Milkani. What do you feel that coming up so many universities? We have seen Australian universities coming up. 2 have opened their campuses in Gift City. 3 others are in a process of having discussions that where we should open. One of the UK university coming up in Gurgaon and opening up a campus. Another one in Gift City. So what do you feel that coming of so many foreign universities in India, how it is going to change the landscape? And what are your views? How is it going to affect the quality of education and what kind of competition you see here?
It's an incredibly interesting topic, Professor Singh, and I think all my co-panelists have shared views that provide a lot of food for thought. As the ACU, we don't have a formal position on this matter, but as someone who's worked very actively in higher education in India for the last 15 years, my personal views are as follows. My sense is that what works for some will not work for all. And you have indeed some Australian universities, also a couple of UK universities, I believe, who've indicated their interest in setting up campuses in Gift City. I think the GIFT model is not to be confused with the model of universities setting up outside of Gift City, because Gift City has been set up to be a financial hub, a financial center, almost a special economic zone for fintech areas. So I think the likes of Deakin and Wollongong and others that will follow suit are going there to offer some very specific types of programs which suit the environment that GIFT is looking to build. If you look at other universities who are setting up or who've announced plans to set up in other parts of India, taking advantage of the international branch campus regulations released by the UGC, my personal view is I think they'll have a lot of value to add to India's higher education fabric. At the same time, I think it's extremely important, as Kiran alluded to, that they don't simply import into India what they're offering at the mothership. I think there has to be a contextualization of what they're offering. I think there has to be a significant uh, level of input taken from their Indian partners, from their Indian alumni, from Indian employers in some sense, to try and better understand what the needs of that specific region are. Now, India is a massive nation, as we all know, with uh, you know well over 25 states and several union territories, etc., where every 200 kilometers that you drive or you walk, you're speaking a different language or a different dialect, and therefore I think that one has to take a very nuanced approach to this. But fundamentally, my view is we have a very, very ambitious gross enrollment ratio target in this country. Whilst private universities that have developed over the last 25 years or so have done an absolutely phenomenal job in providing a world-class education, Amity University itself is a brilliant example. Amity universities, I should say, are brilliant examples. But we have some distance to run before we reach that gross enrollment ratio target. And that will mean either us as Indians developing more universities of our own, or us sending students overseas, as is happening in large numbers, or really the in between option, which is what we've just been discussing. So I think there's a lot of good to be seen in this development, but it has to be done in a very customized way.
Thank you, Mr. Malkani. We have a professor of finance and economics, so my question would be related with finance and economics with you. About 39% of the students who have sent us the questionnaire and the question, which is revolving around the fees, scholarship, and the value of the degrees. So one thing is clear that a lot of UK universities, Australian universities, maybe US universities are going to establish their campuses in India. That is for sure. Already there are few who are here, and then there are many who are coming back. Now we need to look at what is going to be the sustainable model, because even if a university is coming up and opening up a campus, what should be the color of that university? Will it be a university which is opening up in 10,000 square feet area, or in 20,000 square feet area in a gift city? What kind of infrastructure they will be offering? About 92% of the students, they are saying that they don't come to university only to attend lectures. 73% are saying that learning is beyond the classroom. So in the classrooms, they are not learning. I'm speaking here, someone will be doing their phones, including faculty. So they are busy on their phones, doing things. Garima is looking at Google, looking at what LinkedIn profile is, right? The other student who is your student from NTU sitting there, busy on the phone. So you will find that this is a restless generation doing so many things together. But the question is that if we are offering up the model coming up, so I think that most of you advocated dual degree programs, about which our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is very, I would say, is stressing on, wants that a lot of universities should come up, offer dual degrees, joint degrees. But we need to look at that how much UK universities are prepared and how much Indian universities are prepared to do that. So if we say to you, Professor Roman, which is the sustainable model? Opening up a university just with 10,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet area, where the students are just coming, sitting there, attending classes, or a full-fledged university like MIT or some other universities, where they are having an ecosystem where students can come, they can attend classes, they can go to gym, they can go to pool, they can do theater, they can do music, they can play. They can talk to each other and they can learn from their experiences. But then that's a costly model, where the break even may come after 100 years. But we, as a finance professor, as a professor of economics, what is your view in the longer run? Which model will sustain? Is it students going to UK? Is it campuses of various universities opening their campuses, branch campuses in India? Or is it going to be a dual degree or articulation, which is already happening? Over to you. We want it to be related with finance and economics.
Thank you. This is nice question. And challenging to answer. And look, what I am the professor of financial economics. I'm an independent academic doing my research and my teaching, not involved in politics in terms of politics or of the planning and about the expansion of universities and so on. So I will just answer as an academic. What I observe here in the UK, if I compare it with other European universities, majority of the universities have become profit-seeking universities. The money is the top priority to be financially sustainable. Okay. Why? Because government is not providing sufficient amount to support the universities. So universities are on their own. And this is not sustainable business. If we look, let me starting from broader, what is going on after we can come from this, what is going here in the UK, why the universities are expanding. So the first is that the students are paying the fees which are tuition fees which are below, below the cost of education. This is the first. So we subsidize, somehow the university subsidize, and how they subsidize by lecturers who teach more and more. This is first. So the universities are looking for the opportunities, okay? And opportunities, why? Because if you look at the statistics, you will find out that the number of international students coming to the UK, it's dropping, it's declining over the 10, 15 years. COVID was really a huge shock. But even now, the Indian international students, I wouldn't agree with the speaker who said that students vote with the feet. They vote with the passport and the visa requirements. So the Indian students are now much more restricted. We can see here the drop in Indian students. Why? Because they cannot come here, because they will not get the visa. This is so simple. So if they are not coming to us, we have to go there in order to keep some kind of the profitability. But if you look, and what is nice, and now we stop it, but before 10 years ago and so on, we still try to compare China and India and look at the Chinese higher education sector, and not only India, even including the UK, it's completely different what they achieved. Why they achieved? Because of huge government support. They have so much money that they don't know what to do with the money. Visit the campuses. These are huge campuses. They look like small towns. Why? Because government took care or has been taking care of higher education. And over 10 years, the university expanded. Before, we have the large number of international universities that they try to penetrate to the Chinese market. But now they can't compete. Nottingham is still successful with Ningbo campus, which was established a long time ago, and Nottingham University, and it's well established and recognized because they started operating two or more, even more decades ago. Okay, so going back to the question, universities are trying to go there, to go to India to expand the activities. But it's not just that we are providing education. The universities try to generate the income. Okay. And I think it's very competitive. You will not see top university. You will not see the Cambridge, Oxford, or Imperial to go to India to build up the campus. Correct? You will not see it. And now they have to compete with higher education sector, with university in India. And we are outsiders. it means we don't have such a local knowledge. And this has happened, or we have the experience from other universities from the UK, that they try to open the campuses in Malaysia, in all countries, and they bankrupt. They just bankrupt because we are academics. We are not entrepreneurs. Okay. And this can happen in India. They can open the campuses, but Amity University, it's well-established private university. How they will compete with these universities? Okay, because when you come there, you don't have the brand name. Apart that you are at the university, but I told you, not all top universities, leading university goes to India. So they can be just partnership. But the partnership is also questionable. Why Amity would go with, I don't know, XY University, unless this is leading top university in the UK. So, in my view, based on the experience, what we observed, the expansion to Malaysia, expansion to China, and other countries, the university after they close the businesses. So I don't think that it's a sustainable way of going abroad and building and transfer education. India had a large proportion of highly educated people receiving the PhD from over the world. And what we can observe now, 30 years ago, if the Indian students came here to the UK, they finished PhD and they remain here. Now, no, students go back because they have much better opportunities in India than 3 decades ago. So my personal view is some university will expand, but not necessarily this is a sustainable business.
Absolutely. I think that Professor Rahman has give a huge applause to him. I think that he has given a good business model. But my question is more deeper. So I'm going to ask now a deeper question, because I think one of the very important things he has said is that research is one area, of course, but business is another area. You need to develop your revenues also. And that is, I think, one of the major objectives when the universities, they expand. Research is one, interaction is another, mobility is the other one, but then also business model is something also very, very important. So I'm going to ask the last question, and including almost all the questions in this very question. So one is dual degree. I think that all of us, we agree that dual degree is going to be the answer. But also campus in campus, that instead of creating a campus, we can create a model where a university is collaborating and can use the resources. For example, Indian university calling a foreign university, helping them to establish, and then on the reciprocal basis, having a similar system in UK where they have a branch. So maybe this is one area, but I think most of the universities are looking for a dual degrees, where they can do a part of the program here, part of the program here, and both the universities can do a dual and a joint degree. But most importantly, I think the majority of the students want to ask is that this is a time when they are not looking for degrees, they're looking for skills, they're looking for employment, they're looking for internships, they're looking for apprenticeships. Do you think, all of you, that along with the dual degree, joint degrees, the time has come up where the focus would be more towards providing students experiential learning? For example, someone going to UK, doing a 3 months program, and then getting employment, which is presently a challenge. But more towards skills rather than towards a degree. For example, we have seen few companies coming up with the certifications. And I was just sitting with few of the professors from engineering, data science, AI, and technical areas. And I found some of the certifications, if you're doing 5 certifications, 6 certifications, they are as good as an engineering degree. Or if you are doing a few certifications from another reputed company, they are as good as an MBA degree. So do you feel that the time has come up where the students can do a part of the program academic, but the part of the certification, and can still get an employment in UK? We'll start with the University of Birmingham, Professor Robin. What are your views? How students can become more employable in UK?
it's undoubtedly the case that the curriculum of old, when I was getting my undergraduate degree, is no longer fit for purpose. That, especially now that students across all countries are paying more for their education, they rightly expect a return on that huge investment. And actually, intellectually, they want something which isn't just theoretical and textbook, but actually allows them to translate knowledge. Experiential learning is one model for that. There are plenty of other models too. So yes, I suppose I'm just trying to give you a general answer that's helpful, which is that I think across the piece, universities have to be much more porous than they were in the past. So if we just take research, it's no longer enough for absolutely fantastic fundamental science, as critical as that is, to go on and nothing else in universities. There needs to be the ability to translate and absorb knowledge from industry into universities. And I'd say the same in education programs. It's not enough to take a young mind, keep it for 3 years, and then spit it out and hope it's ready for the rest. That person is ready for the rest of their career and their working life. There needs to be much more porosity within programs. And if I try and put the two together, I think there is a really exciting but hard possibility of using international partnerships and international collaboration to expose students to different international multicultural working environments. It's hard, I know that, because we tried it. I haven't encountered any models of that operate at scale. There are models that operate for small cohorts of students and give those students a fantastic experience. But being able to collaborate internationally and expose large number of students to workplace learning, experiential learning, internships, placements, and so on, that is a hard problem, but I think it's worth going after. Can I slip in one more thought on it was from the previous one, previous question. I was just looking at the statistics while people were speaking. Last year, there were just over 43 million Indian students enrolled in higher education. That was 2 million students more than the previous year. I think if you roll all of the UK universities together who might open international branch campuses, they might admit 50,000 students. I could be wrong. Even if I'm out by a factor of 10, it's very small compared to the needs of India. India's gross enrollment ratio is 28%. That's half of the world average, which is 56%. International branch campuses will have an effect, but India needs so much more, and I think collaboration beyond international branch campuses will be crucial for that.
Very good point. Please give a huge applause to him. My question would be to you now that how we can make, same question, how we can make Indian students more employable in UK. That is one. But can we do small courses, short courses? We can create a partnership which are more employment oriented, where the students, if they do those courses, they are more employable in UK.
Thank you. So I'm going to give my opinion for one point as a professor of biology, which is where an ecosystem needs variability. If you have a monoculture of similarity, every university, every partnership being the same, it won't work. It will thrive for a while and disease will wipe that out. And we need to have that variability. We need to have uniqueness within these partnerships. I would say that one of the key models and something that has worked for over 5 years now at Nottingham Trent University is that all of our undergraduate courses, every degree has assessed work-like experience within it. You can't graduate without having that experience. This also ties to professional status, charterships, making sure that the degrees are professionally relevant. And it's all of those aspects that means that NTU was voted #1 for employability by our students in 2024 and 2025. I think that's the understanding, is what do students want and need, and continuing to listen to that voice, not assume we know the answer now.
Thank you. Give a applause to him. Professor Kiran, there are universities in the world who are offering 1 year of internships. And there are UK universities we have seen that if it's a 3-year program, they will do 1 year or 2 years of academic program, 1 year gap, go to the industry, do internships or apprenticeship. You earn some money also, and then you come back. Most of the students who are here, they are more keen in taking practical exposure. So do you think that in the near future, UK universities coming up, maybe doing 2 to 3 months program, but then doing 1 year of internship students they are doing abroad? And that is going to add more value rather than doing a 2-year program in UK. But that is going to be working very closely with the industry. I was a month back in UK talking to some of the international brands, including HSBC and some of the other banking industries. And all of them, they were saying that if this happens, they will prefer it. But do you think that UK universities will be able to absorb students, provide them apprenticeships, internships, rather than only giving them the academic programs through dual degree programs?
I think that's a huge ask at this moment in time, but not impossible. So let me give you some examples where this is happening and happening well, and what we might learn from it. If we turn that question on its head and said, how do we get industry into universities? How do we build those partnerships so that every student gets exposed to that? So one of the initiatives that the Vice-Chancellor, Charlie Jeffries, and I are leading at the University of York is to create an entrepreneurial university of the future. And what do I mean by that? So in every faculty, we will have industry partners, we will have policy makers, we will have academics and our students coalescing. So not just the sciences, because we've got a good reputation of doing that. So if you think about student exposure to industry and skills, it doesn't just happen in the workplace. That's bringing the best industries, the best partners. And we're calling that, innovation hubs across the university, across the city. And we are working with some of the biggest financial sectors to do that. In a previous life, before I was at the University of York, I was at the University of Birmingham, and Robin was instrumental in that. I had the opportunity as an academic to go to Melbourne and look at the way that universities in Australia do that. And more recently, I was on an advanced leadership program, and I went to Perth. And organisations like the big tech companies, universities, is rather than your students work for McDonald's, there's nothing wrong with working for McDonald's, I say that really clearly, why don't they come and work for us? During periods of time that they would do that, they will work on real life consulting projects, and the very best are then offered jobs afterwards. But that's going to take a huge shift in a very controversial area for both governments to think about immigration policy. And so it's one that we don't touch because it's not within our gift, but it is within the gift of government and vice-chancellors who I know are working really hard on that. So I think we have to think of new models. This isn't just about students going in for short periods. This is about ensuring that industry and academia coalesce and work together on real life issues, because that's the new model of experiential learning and action research in practice. And I think, and then the other element, which every single university does, but needs to rethink, is continuing professional development. How do we think about continuing professional development in new and innovative ways? But I've got a question that I've been really curious and perplexed by through the whole of this panel. Faculty here. How many students in this room, if they had an opportunity, would want to study part of their time, in their home country and part of their time overseas? Would you just stick your hands up if you have an aspiration to be able to want to do that?
She's asking how many students have gone on a study abroad program. How many of you will like to study part of the program in India and a part of the program abroad? And there are quite a few who have already gone. Just raise your hands like this, that those who have already gone or they would like to do a part of the program abroad. Those who have gone on a study abroad program, yeah, just raise or you can stand up so that we can see the numbers and how many are actually there. Those who have gone, just stand up so that we can see that, or those who want to go abroad for further studies, or those who have done their half a program, or maybe that they would like to do most of the program abroad. Study abroad programs, dual degree programs, those who want to do a part of the program in India, part of the program abroad. Great, please sit down. So I think, good, great. I think one thing is very clear, and I'm very cautious of time, so I will request Mr. Malkani and our friends who have joined us from online, Professor Robin and Professor Roman, to give very brief comments just for a minute. But the world is going to be changing. Degrees are going to be the biggest challenge. I think the more focus is going to be on the dual degrees, and the more focus is going to be on providing the internship experience, apprenticeship experience. Most of the students and the faculty, they're more keen on research-based collaborations, sustainable collaborations, and then looking for that what degree has to offer in the international market. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure hosting you. But before that, before I close this, I will request Mr. Malkani and our friends who are on online to give very brief remarks.
Thanks, Professor Singh. I'm going to just say two quick sentences, which is, couldn't agree more. The world is changing, and I think universities, by and large, need to look inwards and rediscover their value proposition. This is a blanket statement, but applies, I think, in some sense to several universities across the world. That's one sentence and one point. The second point I'm going to make is the previous generation, myself included, we've benefited exponentially from a university education. And we as alumni need to start finding ways that we can actually give back, because the world is changing, but it's incumbent upon us not to just sit pretty in our relatively cushy jobs without thinking of the generations ahead of us. So I'll sort of pause there.
Over to you, Professor Robin. One liner for you, concluding line.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad that you asked this question, because to me, it brings the two parts of my portfolio together. It's the global and the civic coming together, because when we are working together as two universities, it's not just two universities, it's two ecosystems with our industry partners. We really believe in catalyzing entrepreneurship. And I was very glad last year my team worked so hard on this, and we were the winner of the National Entrepreneurship Catalyst Award for the National Enterprise Educators. And to me, it's all about linking two ecosystems, the Indian ecosystem and the UK ecosystem. It's not just about university links, it's bringing our industry partners together as well. And students experience that through the dual degree.
Thank you. Last word from you, Professor Roman.
What I would say that the internationalization of education, as we can see, and close link with demand from students, we can see that the innovation in higher education sector in the UK seems to be even faster than innovation in the industry. This is what I can observe over the last 3 decades. We are really at the peak of innovation, of working very closely with the industry and reflecting on students' demand and on students' employability. Finally, the internationalization definitely helped to improve the degrees and how we teach, what we teach, and that's all. And thank you very much. And if all the universities in India are the same as Amity, this would be probably the best for your country as a whole.
Yeah, thank you so much. Give a huge applause to the entire panel. And thank you so much for the wonderful audience, faculty members, and all those who are joining us online. But my request to all the students and participants is that the way of growth is always collaboration. Keep on collaborating in research in various areas. Keep on exploring that what we can do in terms of offering joint degrees, dual degrees. Maybe that one day we will have campuses. MIT has got campuses in 16 countries, and we offer this to our students. And it also reminds me, Palvi is looking at me, that please also tell us about study abroad program dates. All of you who are interested in going to UK, 28th April, we are sending students, about 200 of them. Please do join quickly. But such a pleasure to welcome you, all the participants who are here. Join us for a dinner at Radisson. We have organized it. There are cars and student volunteers who will be able to guide you. 6:30 p.m. Looking forward to see you at Radisson Blue, Sector 18, Noida. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So what a great panel discussion and the collaboration. And I think the students who are live here, there can never be a better piece of question and answers and the futuristic outcome. And every student want to go abroad. And the collaboration and partnership is the need of an hour. And when such stalwarts speak on the right question and the right answers are generated, that's called the outcome. So now I would take a few moments to steal, and I would like to invite Professor Sasha Rosenel, Vice Chancellor of the University of Sussex, for her virtual address. And before I tell my IIT team, let me quickly give her profile. Professor Sasha Rosenel is a Vice Chancellor and President of the University of Sussex since August 2022 and the first female leader. Previously, she was the Provost for Equity and Inclusion at UCL and held leadership roles at the University of Essex, Birkbeck and Leeds. A very renowned Vice Chancellor, and she is live talking and addressing all of you. Requesting IT team to go wide.
I'm sorry not to join you in person for the Silver Jubilee of Amity University's International Business and Research Conference. I extend my warm congratulations to Amity.
I think there's a technical glitch. Let me give a glimpse of what she has spoken. She talked about the association with Amity, and
Hello,
she
everyone.
has
My
said
name
that
is
this
Professor
university
Sasha Rosenel.
and collaboration.
I'm Vice Chancellor and President of the University of Sussex. I'm sorry not to join you in person for the Silver Jubilee of Amity University's International Business and Research Conference. I extend my warm congratulations to Amity on this remarkable milestone, celebrating a quarter of a century of fostering global leadership, innovation, and intellectual exchange. As delegates gather to engage in discussions shaping the future of our world, I would like to affirm the University of Sussex's deep commitment to strengthening our collaboration with India through building equitable and impactful partnerships. We're excited to continue working alongside Amity and with industry leaders to create meaningful opportunities for students and graduates. Together, we aim to ensure their employability and empower them to lead with purpose and vision in a rapidly evolving and interconnected world. The young people of India will undoubtedly play a pivotal role in shaping the future, and we're committed to supporting their development as the next generation of global leaders. Thank you.
So with this, we come to the conclusion of the first day of 25th INBUSH Summit 2025. Now I request all the dignitaries to kindly step forward for the awards ceremony. Dear students, this would not be possible without your support. So these are the chairs from all the faculty members and the senior stalwarts to the students. who have been the biggest power behind any successful event. Amity is proud to confer Amity Academic Excellence Award to Professor Robin Masson, Pro-Vice Chancellor, International University of Birmingham. Can we hear more on the balls? I would request Kiran ma'am to also join us. Dr. Kiran Trehan, your presence has been a delight. Please join in. Cabinet Excellence Award. We are proud by the presence of Professor Robin Banerjee, Vice Chancellor, Global and Civic Engagement. Thank you so much, sir, for coming and giving your great input in the great conference. Amity is proud to confer Amity Academic Excellence Award to Professor Richard M. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Research and International, Nottingham Trent University. A great moment. Amity is proud to confer Amity Academic Excellence Award to Professor Roman Mozart, Professor of Financial Economics, Queen Mary University of London. Amity is proud to confer Amity Academic Excellence Award to Mr. Aditya Mansali, Regional Director, Association of Commonwealth Universities. We also appreciate the time and the engagement of Professor Neil Nancy, Mr. Stephen Williams, Director NTU Global Nottingham Trent University, Mr. Ashish Jaiswal, General Manager India Global Development Department, Mr. Sweet Paul, Principal Advisor, Global Engagement Office, Mr. Devesh Anand, Regional Director, South Asia and Middle East, University of Birmingham, for joining us today for making this grand success. Thank you, everyone. Please join us on the stage for the photograph. This session has truly exemplified the power of partnership driving meaningful innovation. The discussion today reflects the commitment of the UK and India to working together in shaping the future of education, research, and technology. So the glimpse of today will become the history in times to come. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not possible without your support. Once again, to the entire AIBS community, to the faculty members, students, IID, GBC office, the stalwarts of the Amity University, the back end, the front end support, the IT support, the media support. We thank you, everyone, to the volunteer team, to the citation team, to Millie ma'am, to Asta, everybody who has contributed, to Khatta sir, to Meghna ma'am, to each one of you, and to all the inspiring soul who inspired me sitting live here in the audience. Thank you, everyone. To all the eminent guests who have joined virtually, this was not possible without your support. Thank you and keep gracing your presence to us. Thank you so much. I will request the students to be kindly seated. Let the guests proceed. Let the guests proceed first. All the faculty members, kindly be seated. I need to give an announcement. All the students, kindly be seated. Let the passage be clear first for the guest, and then you may proceed. Dear AIBS champion, 3 cheers to you. This show is your show, and I'm representing each one of you here. You are the pride and the power of this great institute. So let the guests proceed. I would love Kata sir to join me on stage. Please, sir.
Okay, before we just break down, just silently sit down for a minute. Like she said, cheer up. So we'll say, hip hip, hooray, hip hip, hip hip. Well done, and please go back and let's meet tomorrow as per schedule. Thank you so much for being so patient today. Thank you so much.
Tomorrow, we have all the faculty members. Just need to update you. GVC sir has informed me to update you live here that you all have to meet him before you depart. So there will be a short meeting and then all the faculty members need to be there. Students, you can go back to your respective place and meet your program leaders as per the order and protocol. Tomorrow, we have back-to-back 4 sessions lined up. So get your energy, come more powerful for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you, IT support. Without